Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is seeing this. We seem to have a small issue. There we go. We seem to have a small issue. Right. So, great. Now we are good to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Now there seems to be a small delay in the feed. So if you are here, by all means, let me know you're here. Say hello and let's get started. All right. There we go. All right. Oops. So, hello, everyone. Sorry about that little glitch at the beginning, but we seem to be going very well now. And everyone seems to be able to hear me. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this OET webinar, where we're going to touch briefly on a common grammar issue that occurs in letters that we see very often. Just a quick introduction for those of you who do not know me. I am Alicia from Banfield's Professional Medical English, and I am one of the premium preparation providers for OET. Our website is promedicalenglish.com, but don't worry, you will see it from time to time during today's webinar. So what I like to do is, as usual, I like to start by saying hello to as many people as I can, because I like to see where you guys are signing in from around the world and hear a little bit about your OET journey. So hello, Ali, hello, Bilal, hello, Estrella, hello, Siso, hello, Amresh, and Surjit said he is in Jaipur, India. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Welcome to everyone. Tazrina, Juliana, where else are we calling in from? There's Saudi Arabia. Welcome, Sundari. I hope today you learn a lot. Ma'am, Ama Antwi. Ooh, that is a very musical name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am sitting here in Taipei, and I see Laxmi is in from Nepal. That is wonderful. We've got the United Arab Emirates, Glenn. We've got Philippines, Juliana. We've got Hamid from Iran. Wow. Okay. So I'll reach back and greet a few more people as we go. Just to let you know, there is a little delay in the feed. There's nothing wrong. Please don't leave. You may notice that the chat runs a little bit behind the audio. Please don't leave. There's nothing wrong. It's just the speed and the internet connection. And plus, the video is going to be up on OET for a while. It also is going to be posted later on our YouTube channel. So if you don't grab it today, you can always pop over to our YouTube channel and see it there. So it's not a problem, okay? So we have Evans from Ghana and Avayena. I don't know, Alvayena. Did I say that correctly? Alvayena from Saudi Arabia. Hello. And Mom is from the UK. Okay, great. Wonderful. All right, guys. So how we run it is like this. I do a very short presentation that basically introduces a common OET issue that people have. I cover it very concisely. It's not at all a full class, but enough that many of you can connect with the issue. And we choose these topics because they're issues that we come across again and again and again in writing. Today's topic in writing and speaking. So today's topic is about grammar and specifically about the use of articles. So at this point, I'm going to switch over and we're going to see the presentation. I'm going to go through it. And during the presentation, I will stop and we'll have a little chat in the chat. So have your fingers ready to type in. And also afterwards, I am open then to answer any questions you might have specifically about today's topic, which is grammar and articles. But if you have any other question, now is the time to ask. Okay, so on that note, here we go. All right, and right now I'm going to put our email address also in. ProMedical Eng, I have to make sure I spell it correct, huh? .com, info@promedicalenglish.com, and our website is promedicalenglish.com, or we should say our school is here. Okay, so here we go. Give me a second while I set up screen share. Right, so today we're going to look at what I call the art of articles, a, and the. And why have I chosen that? Because, oops, hold on, let me just click. There we go. Because we come across this in OET writing, as well as in OET speaking in our candidates time and time and time again. And here I have just a little example of the kind of thing we would see in a letter. And what you're seeing is the red bits, and the red bits are where either articles or possessive pronouns, that is his and her, are incorrect. So we're going to be looking at this letter in a little bit more detail. Don't worry about it. It's going to disappear. We're going to come back to it. But first of all, why is grammar so important? Now, I have had students say to me, oh, I was told that you don't need grammar to do well in OET writing, or you don't need good grammar to do, you don't need any grammar to do well in OET speaking. Anyone who tells you that, run really quickly, because vocabulary and grammar are the basic structures of English language. And grammar in English is not only about structure, it also gives the listeners information about other things, about opinion, about attitude, about timeline. So when your grammar is incorrect, you can almost say that your listener or your reader is only getting half of the information. Okay. The other reason why grammar in OET is important is because when your grammar is wrong again and again and again, especially if it is being read by a native English speaker, England, Australia, America, in other words, the countries where many of you plan to apply to work, those readers looking at a letter you have written or listening to you speaking, and there are all of these grammar mistakes, it's distracting. And they stop listening to or trying to understand what you say, and instead they get that little crease in their brow, trying to figure out, huh? And that is not what you want. You don't want that in real life, and you most definitely do not want that with the examiners, okay? Grammar is so important in OET that writing, it is one of the criteria, okay? The criteria is language, and do your sentences promote what we call readability and or cause strain, okay? So this criterion, language, is actually for 7 out of 38 points. That's a lot, okay? So you don't want to be throwing any of those points away. And the language of a professional letter need not be elaborate. However, if it's too simplistic, it usually does not relay information as efficiently as possible, nor convey the appropriate tone and register. Additionally, as I mentioned, too many errors in structure, spelling, and punctuation can distract from efficiently retrieving information, okay? With writing, again, it is a criterion. It is criterion number 4, grammar and expression. And again, high points. So you do have to be very aware. And I know also another thing people like to do in grammar, you see here, beware of fixed phrases that you learned by heart. They might not be the most appropriate. But in addition to that, the examiners can tell when you go, I'm so sorry to hear that, or, you know, I want to ask you, or I'm so sorry. Just be careful of that, all right? But generally, so what we're going to cover today falls under these criteria for language as well as for speaking. Now, these excerpts that you see here are from a series we have called The Coach. And as you can see here, free, 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 free. There are 4 of them, one for each subtest. And what we are covering today is found in the Speaking Coach and the Writing Coach. So you can head over to our website on the free resources and download it. And no, you do not have to buy anything before, during, or after. You don't, okay? You just click, type in your email address correctly, and it comes to your mailbox, and that's it, okay? But getting back to the criteria now. So having said that grammar is important, however, OET is not sitting down, the examiners are not sitting down with a pen, counting every single error you make and taking off marks. That's not how it works, okay? So grammar alone or use of an, a, and the alone will not pass or fail you. However, again, if you have these repeated incorrect themes going through your speaking or your writing, it distracts and draws the examiner's attention to deeper issues in your language. That is, they see you making too many of a kind of error or multiple kinds of grammar error, and they start going, they take out the microscope and they start looking at other things, okay? And you don't want that. So let's understand the use, very briefly, of a, and the a bit more. See what I did there? Articles. All right. Okay. So a and an in English are indefinite articles. Actually, let me go back a little bit and at this point mention, it's actually understandable why many people make or can make errors with articles in English. One, let's face it, some parts of English grammar are a little bit complicated. But 2, there are many languages out there, like Asian languages, many Asian languages that do not use articles. For this reason, don't just skip over them. Instead, make the effort to understand how articles in English work and how they contribute to the readability of your writing and lesson strain in when you're speaking. Okay, so let's start at the top. So an indefinite article, and I'm sorry if some of it is cut off. Oops, never mind. I'll tell you what it says behind the picture. An indefinite article, are indefinite articles that are often used when describing professions and giving dosages. That's what's hidden behind the picture. So for example, he is a football coach. There are many languages like Spanish and German. You don't put an article in front of professions. In English, you do. Okay, we also say he takes Ramipril, 5 milligrams a day. That is more idiomatic. It means 5 milligrams once a day, once per day. Okay. Now, an is used just like a, but when the noun following it begins with a, e, I, o, or u, what we call vowels. So she is an athlete, but he is a or a football coach, depending on your accent. The or the is used when referring to a specific person, a specific thing, a specific event. So the episodes, meaning the specific episodes last week, lasted a few minutes. Okay. And no article is used when listing general symptoms, pain, itching, dizziness, vertigo. But we use the if we are discussing a specific episode, like the episode that happened this morning or yesterday or last summer. Okay. So he had palpitations and pain down his left arm. Notice general description of symptoms here. But the pain, we're talking about the arm pain, settled with rest. Right? So these are just some random examples. But in your thinking about whether to put in an article or not, there are two other tips that can help you figure out if you're not sure. One is the noun or the thing that you're referring to countable or not countable? Okay, can you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or not? So countable, for example, people, persons. She is a widow who, or she is a 19-year-old office assistant. Okay. Professions. He is an accountant who, or she has been referred to a or the dietitian for whatever. Okay. We also say that attacks or episodes, they're finite. They have a beginning and an end. Those are countable. So the attacks of leg pain are worse when she walks more than 5 minutes. You can also say her attacks, which is called a possessive pronoun. Who do the attacks belong to? Her. That's also, or his. That's also acceptable. Or they may be not countable. So symptoms, example, she gets shortness of breath occasionally. Yeah, so notice that there is no article there. Or general tests and procedures. He had surgery on his left hip. Okay, that's just a general procedure he underwent. Or a general reference to medication. She takes paracetamol. We're not worried about what brand she takes or anything specific or when she takes them or the last time she took them. We're just saying generally she takes paracetamol. And Also not countable diagnoses. She has myasthenia gravis. Okay, not a myasthenia gravis. She has myasthenia gravis. So you can think about it as countable or not countable. Or you can also ask yourself, is it general referencing or a specific item? And again, you see what I did there? General referencing, no article. A specific item, article. Okay. So generally, she gets chest pain on lying flat. It just generally happens. Okay. He attends physiotherapy twice a week. He takes painkillers and other medications. So with general referencing, notice no article. But specific instances, the chest comfort is worse after. So now we're talking about this specific chest discomfort and the behavior of it. The chest comfort is worse after. The physiotherapy sessions have not helped. So he attends physiotherapy twice a week, general, but the physiotherapy sessions have not helped. And we go on and talk about the physiotherapy. Okay. He takes painkillers and other medication, general referencing, so no article. But he reports that the painkillers, these painkillers or those painkillers, very specific reference now, and the other medications help him or do not help him. So honestly, it comes with practice as you write and you get feedback from your tutor or from your writing corrections corrector. With practice and practice and practice and doing exercises. But in your practice also, you can ask yourself these kind of questions. Is it general referencing or specific item or event? Is it a countable thing or is it not countable? And kind of based on that, give it your best shot. Okay. But there are some exceptions and there are some rules, honestly, or some language conventions that you just got to learn, honestly. So when is no article needed or when are no articles needed? For example, plurals. He had blood tests done, general blood tests. We don't know if it was hematology, histology, biopsy. We don't know. We're just saying he had blood tests generally done, as well as x-rays. We don't know what kind of x-ray, chest, abdomen, we don't know. You know, transverse, lateral, we don't know. Or she had frequent headaches. All right, plural, general reference. But now if we go on to talk about when the headaches happen and what comes before the headaches, well, then we would put here, the headaches are worse during migraine season or after eating chocolate or cheese or whatever, and so on. Okay. Again, general symptoms. She had pain, nausea, and vomiting. General reference to investigations. This is kind of a convention. So he's scheduled for angiogram, but you can also say, yeah, he is scheduled for an angiogram. Or he is scheduled for CT scan. You can also say he is scheduled for a CT scan next week. This is kind of a medical language convention where both are accepted. Okay. And then another language convention, we say examination revealed. Again, you can say the examination or my examination or the examination of the patient. So you can put the article, you can leave it out. Again, this is another kind of convention where both are accepted. Okay, good. So on that point, oh, I see, I'm going to pause now and go back. I see we've got Olika from Nigeria, Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've got someone from Egypt. I am so sorry. I do not read Arabic, so I can't say your name, but hello from Egypt as well. And we have Bilal is from Pakistan. Well done. Hello. And we have Harshani from Sri Lanka. Hello, hello, hello. So at this point now, we're going to do a little quiz. And going back to that preview that I showed at the beginning. So here we have a letter about a patient called Martina Rogers. And the person writes, I am writing to refer my patient, Ms. Martina Rogers, 19-year-old clerk in Department of Motor Vehicles. So let's take the first sentence. Now at this point, I'm going to encourage you to go into the chat and type in. Let me refresh my screen because sometimes the feed causes me to miss some of the comments. Because sometimes, oops, the feed, there we go, right? So let's look at the first sentence. I am writing to refer my patient, Ms. Martina Rogers, 19-year-old clerk. Question, should there be an article in front of that or not? And if there is an article, what kind of article? I'm going to give you a few seconds to type it in. So Australia says, yes, there should be an article. Okay. Does anyone else agree with Australia? Alexa, okay, says no. Liba says yes, there should be an article. Anyone else? So jewelry as well as, oh, that's a lovely name, jewelry. Jewelry and Australia both say it should be a. Glenn agrees, Rafi agrees, exactly. You're all correct. So if you say a 19-year-old clerk, you're absolutely correct. Okay, let's go on. So a 19-year-old clerk or a 19-year-old clerk in Department of Motor Vehicles. At this point, type into the chat, department, what goes before Department of Motor Vehicles. In the Department of Motor Vehicles. Correct. But here we have requires investigation and management of a possible obstructive sleep apnea. So management of a possible obstructive sleep apnea. Do we have or do we need to put an article in front of possible obstructive sleep apnea or not? Type into the box, possible obstructive sleep apnea, article before or not. Okay, so jewelry is saying remove a, Sundari is agreeing and saying no article before. And you guys are absolutely correct. This is a general diagnosis, obstructive sleep apnea, so you don't need a in front of it. Okay, so the correct thing should read, I am writing to refer my patient, Ms. Martina Rogers, a 19-year-old clerk in the Department of Motor Vehicles. She requires investigation and management of possible obstructive sleep apnea. Okay. Here we have, let's move on to the next one. She complained that fatigue was due to oops, that's a little mistake here. Frequent, I took it literally from what the person wrote. Complained that fatigue was due to frequent episodes of awakening, blah, blah, blah. Complained that fatigue was due to, should there be an article in front of here or not? I'm going to pause a second and let you just type in. Okay, so somebody says finger up. I don't know if that means yes or no. The fatigue. Specific, the fatigue. Yes, Sandari. Yes, Estrella. Yeah. Okay, so if your answer is that she complained that the fatigue was due to frequent episodes, you're absolutely correct. Alexa and Liba says the same thing. You could also hear, because the fatigue belongs to her, you could also hear say her fatigue. That's also, all right. Complain of fatigue. Well, if you said, you could say complain of fatigue, although, you know, some tutors don't like the word complain because it sounds negative, but grammar-wise, if you use the word, the collocation complain of, you have to change up the sentence a bit. You would have to say, she complained of fatigue with frequent episodes of. You have to change it a little bit. You have to change it a little bit. Okay. All right. So that's just an introduction. And we're going to stop right here. As we said, this is not a full class, but what you can do is, in reviewing the video, you can pause here and also take a look at the other grammar issues. In this letter, ask yourself, discuss with someone you're studying with, ask your tutor to go through this letter and pick up any other grammar issues and use it like a little grammar exercise, okay? On that note, there's also another grammar exercise, and in watching the video, you can also, I'll show it on screen, but I won't linger long on it. You can also pause it, look at it, and use it to discuss errors in the writing. Okay, now these essential grammar issues and other grammar issues, in addition to articles, plus general writing skills, you can practice doing individual exercises, you can practice them doing writing corrections, but also, oops, sorry, you also come across this as an entire module in our intensive writing courses for nurses and for doctors on our website. So you can just check them out, look at what's in the modules and go from there. Okay. Quiz number 2. Now we come to, again, ask yourself the question, what are the errors, especially looking at articles, in this part of this letter? So in watching the video, you can stop, take a pause and look, but we won't pause right now. I'm sorry that it's high up and a bit is blocked, but don't worry, you can still see some of them. Right. So all in all, again, we understand why many people have issues with grammar, with articles in their grammar, because there are many languages that just do not have articles in them. So for many of you who are watching this, they might think articles, well, that's kind of obvious. It might be obvious for you because you come from a first language where articles are used, but there are many languages where no articles are used. So these candidates, in your struggles. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel like, oh, you know, I should know this stuff. Just understand where you're having weakness, focus on it, and overcome it. And overall, improvement in each smaller aspect of your language and your grammar, including the use of articles, means that what you produce in OET, in writing and in speaking, is overall more polished. It impacts the understanding of the reader, especially the examiner, and it goes towards helping you get a higher grade. Okay, so once again, feel free to download our free stuff. Okay, lots of free stuff on our website, our favorite price. And yeah, that is it for today. So at this point, I am going to stop sharing, and you can type in any question you have. Let me scroll back up to see if there are any questions that people may have. Estrella, you are more than welcome. Alexa, you can just pop over, scroll up in the comments, Alexa, and you will see a link to our website. Or actually, you know what? Let me save you the trouble and put it in here. Haha. Just go to our website and go to our OET page. Just click Men Courses and you'll see OET. We have actually a big sale on now and until the 2nd of May. We're taking off as little as 10% and in some cases as much as 55% off of the price of courses. So our writing courses that I just showed you have come right down, like drastically. So pop on over there, use the link, and you can see more. And if anyone here has any questions, you can either send an email to info@promedicalenglish.com or check out the contacts page on our website and send us an email. We always see our emails and we always answer our emails. It might take us a day or so, but we answer our emails. Okay, right. So do you have any questions, anyone, about anything relating to, especially grammar? No? Well, if that's the case, oops, some person says, yes, I've got a question. I'll wait a few minutes. Anyone is doing, in the meantime, is anyone doing OET this coming, in the next coming week or so? If so, I'm sending out really positive vibes for you. I know how desperately the world needs healthcare professionals moving around and helping people. There's a lot of demand in a lot of places in the world, and I wish you all the best and success, genuine success, both for you and honestly for the patients around the world. Patients around the world need you. Okay, so may I ask, do you have a course with grammar for nurses, Alexa? Yes, there are multiple resources, Alexa, for grammar for nurses. Send us an email and I can tell you yes. Now you say for nurses, quite frankly, it's for healthcare. It can be for nurses, for doctors, for physiotherapists. Why? Because the sentence structure is the same. The rules of grammar are the same. But for OET, let's be honest, it's not all of English grammar that you need. They're very, very specific grammar topics. There are a few of them, but they're very specific grammar topics that you need, especially in your writing and your speaking. So for example, in our writing course, it focuses mostly on the grammar. That is for your writing, not just everything. But for speaking as well as general grammar, yes, we definitely have a grammar for healthcare course. Okay. Oh, we've got people doing OET in a month, Happy studying. We've got people doing OET in August. Oh, starting early. Good planning. Well done. I applaud you. Okay. And how can you access your level in vocabulary? Very, very good question. Have you tried taking the Pulse test on the OET website? Go on to OET.com and Google, and not Google, go into OET.com and in the search field, put in Pulse test. That is P-U-L-S-E. Make sure I spell it correctly. Pulse test on OET.com. That is actually an excellent place and point to start to figure out where you are in your vocabulary and grammar. And if you need to, if you can just straight off start studying for OET, or if you need to go backwards and actually get your basic grammar and vocabulary in place before you go to OET. I am sorry to say that I have seen so many students, so many students rush to do OET, book OET with this, sorry to say, false confidence. Oh, my grammar or vocabulary is good enough. Or they work, or they hear sometimes people tell them, oh, you don't need vocabulary and grammar to pass OET. One, yes, you do need good vocabulary and grammar. And two, find out where your level is first. It is the best time you can ever invest in preparing for your OET. Because if you find out where you are first, you can see your strengths, your weaknesses, focus on that. And instead of doing OET over and over and over again, you can do OET, hopefully pass the first time. I do have students who do that, but at least, the very least, pass the second or third time and not be doing it over and over again. That might appear to you to be money well spent doing OET over and over again, but money better spent is finding out where you're weak, dealing with it, and then booking OET. All right. Pulse test, jewelry, yes, pulse test. P-U-L-S-E test. You didn't find it? Okay. I have never done this in a webinar, but I am actually going to go on Google and find OET.com. I'm going to go on OET.com right in the middle of this webinar and find the pulse test. No joke. Pulse test. What is OET Pulse? And I am going to share the link. Oops, let's see if we see it. Ah, okay. I think I see why, guys, the link might have temp. Ah, found it. I found it. I found it. I found it. I found it. I'm going to put the pulse test now in. Here you go. All right, I just shared in the comment section. And to those of you watching on YouTube or on our own channel, unfortunately, you're not going to see it, but OET.com, go up to the top where you see search and put in P-U-L-S-E, and it's going to come up. Okay, right. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for your time. And whether you're doing OET now or in the coming months, best of luck. Positive vibes. Bye-bye for now.